Welcome to day 296 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of January 2019, which was Glass. Okay, so I guess to give some clarifications and such, for all of 2019, we have to actually watch the movie in theaters and stuff. So as of recording this, we had just watched, The Hobbit, the Five Armies, and everything. So
Yeah.
if it sounds like a lot of things are mismatched and everything, it's probably why.
Yeah, so we just finished 2014 as of recording this.
And then we just started 2019 also
Yeah.
as recording this.
Yeah.
So
And then also we had to watch this in theaters, therefore, we watched it separately while you two watched it together, but then
Yeah.
yeah.
we had to then, because of time zones, you watched it, then I watched it, and then we came back or whatever. So it's not like, we watched it and are now immediately talking about it. We've had a few hours. So
Yeah.
but it was today.
Yes.
And then, okay, so the other thing is that I specifically saw Unbreakable and Split last weekend on my own, just because I knew this was how this was going into it. Now, I know the popular opinion is,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure that this is what it is that Unbreakable is really good, Split is quite good, maybe not quite as good, but it is still quite good, and this is Okay, that seems like what I gather. Now, I disagree with that somewhat. I think both Unbreakable and Split are good, but not great. So that's
Okay.
where I'm coming into it from this. I know a lot of people really like Unbreakable. I don't really like it. I have a few issues, mostly with the fact that honestly it's really slow. It's not a long movie, but it has a very slow pace, which I could see some
Oh,
people
okay.
liking, and that because again, it's not this big epic scale movie or whatever, but but to me, I was honestly kind of bored for some parts of it, but it is an interesting story, and this kind of quote unquote realistic superhero thing with Bruce Willis, and it's an interesting kind of idea for what they go with, and I ultimately do like the movie. That said, I actually like Split a little bit more, which I think is most people they think Split is a little bit worse, but anyway. And I think the main thing for that is and again it's this mystery kind of story because you're just trying to know what the hell is going on with this guy and what he's trying to do. What do you even call him, right? Because there's so many different. He has all the different names, right?
Yeah.
But he.
I mean, they call him the Horde, so
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they don't really use that term in Split until the very end. But anyway, I tend to just call him in my head, I think of him as Split, which is not what they call him, but
That
whatever.
works.
That's just what I think of. But anyway, him played by James McAvoy. He does a good job in Glass, and he's a really good job in Split. He really sells the personalities really well.
Yeah, I was about to say, all the personalities, he, changes, how he, their voices,
Yeah.
their mannerisms and everything.
Yeah, and that's
That's
done.
pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it's done that's the totally focus of the movie Split. So it's done really well. It's a big focus. The story is well done. Again, there's some things in it that kind of feel a little bit iffy in terms of why are they doing this kind of, but ultimately it does work. I don't really like either of them. I would still put probably both of them in the category, but I'd put Split a little bit higher. Now, you two didn't see either of those, and so I looked at the trailer for Glass, and I was like, okay, the trailer for Glass at least kind of tells you who the main three people are, right? Bruce Willis, James McAvoy,
Yeah.
and Samuel Jackson. So I
Yeah.
kind of saw that and was like, okay, you guys should probably be okay by watching the trailer and then watching this movie.
yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily true after seeing this.
Yeah, we were kind of...
Yeah. We understood who each of the characters were basically. Sam Jackson was Glass, he was the villain, I
Mhm.
guess, the actual main
Oh yeah,
villain.
it should be mentioned that Maya was very sad seeing Bruce Willis and
Sam Jackson on opposite sides, because Die Hard, they were
Yeah.
buddies, so it was pretty sad. But I knew he was him. James McAvoy is I guess Split,
Yeah.
yeah.
and then Bruce Willis is kind of just his normal brooding protagonist guy.
Yeah. He was, like, I would say in Unbreakable, he did work a bit better in terms of, like, actually having a bit more emotions in terms of what he was going through, and it was a bit more subdued here. But,
Right.
yeah. But, so, like, honestly, those three guys, I think, are still okay in terms of getting into this movie.
Yeah.
The problem is
The
they
side
just...
characters, I didn't know who the hell they
Yeah.
were.
They don't introduce the side characters at all, and again, the story, like, I mean, the story of this movie itself is, like, not too bad to follow, but kind of just jumping right into it is kind of jarring.
Yeah.
And because, like, again, I'm thinking, like, someone who has just maybe saw these movies when they originally came out in theaters, right? Because, again, I saw both these movies last week, and I'm like,
Right.
sure, Split came out, like, I think, early 2017, late 2016, either one of those, so that's fairly
Like
recent.
2
But
years ago.
but Unbreakable came out in 2000. So I'm like, are you really gonna remember all the details from Unbreakable to what? Maybe, but, like, yeah, because there's a lot of... The main one, I think, that probably the most jarring is the girl, Casey.
Yeah.
I had no idea who she was. I was like,
Yeah.
are you his daughter?
Yeah.
Or, I
Or
don't
like
know.
sister or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
okay.
then the fact that you learn about how his household was kind of rules that out. So
Right, so,
Yeah.
okay. So, Split, the movie, it revolves around the fact that that guy kidnaps 3 girls.
okay.
Casey's one of the 3 girls and the one that survives, basically.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the reason that she survives is the beast is about to get her or whatever. And then this is also kind of shown through interspersed flashbacks throughout the movie. It's shown that Casey was abused by her uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And so the beast, like, sees, like, you know, the marks of that on her body. And then he realized that he's like, you have suffered, you know, you are pure now or something. And then doesn't kill her because of that.
Mm.
So that's
Is
his...
it because like he saw her as kind of like similar to him, where they went through stuff?
like trauma and their
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and that's where she comes from in the connection. Again, even then, like, honestly, in this movie, her in Glass itself, she doesn't really do very much. So it's like, here's
She
this
just kind of appears, confuses
I
the
think-
viewer if you don't know the context, and then
yeah.
you know, fucks
So
off.
it's
I think the son had the biggest role. It looks like.
yeah. Well, in this movie, yeah.
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 So in Unbreakable, what's interesting is they actually did use the same guy. So, like, in Unbreakable,
Oh.
he's like a kid, right?
Oh,
Because, you know, it's 15 years old, 19 years ago at this point, right?
I was surprised that he came. That's nice that he came
Yeah,
back to
so-
reprise his role.
Because that was one of the things they did, is that they didn't try to have it... They tried to actually have it be like, yeah, this is like 19 years later from
Oh.
Unbreakable. So, because at the end of Split, where it had been like 16, 17 years or whatever, the whole twist ending for that is Casey escapes from James McAvoy, and then the news kind of gets out that, like, there's this dude who's crazy personalities or whatever running around. And there's people in, like, a diner, like, watching the TV, and someone comments, like, hey, that sounds kind of similar to that nut in a wheelchair that was locked up a few years ago. And then it pans over to, like, Bruce Willis being like, his name was Mr. Glass 15 years ago or something. So it's like, that was the secret, like, tie-in that you didn't know about, right?
Oh,
So-
I see.
So it's clear, like, the time was there. And so what they do for this is that, you know, in the original, in Unbreakable, Bruce Willis was, like, a security guard for, like, a stadium or something. And so here he's, like, running, like, a security company with his son, right?
Oh,
So that's, like, the progression. And then the whole thing was that his son in Unbreakable was kind of, like, idolizing his dad. Like, oh my god, my dad's a superhero, right? And, like, kind of thinking of it like that, right?
yeah.
So it was interesting that they kind of kept that going. And I think with him, and again, at least, like, it wasn't, like, you weren't really confused about, like, what he was his son in this movie, because he seemed like, oh, his son's helping him. Okay, sure, right? That makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was fine. I think, yeah, Casey, I think, was the main one where you're like, who are you? Why are you important?
Yeah, exactly. Because of course the mom is like, okay,
yeah,
Mhm.
mom. So
Yeah.
easy to follow with that.
Yeah, because, like, and I think that's it, because then, the main, like, psychologist woman or whatever, like, she's new to this movie, so
okay.
I'm pretty sure
She
everything
was
else...
really kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, okay. The dialogue in this in general was pretty bad.
I mean, it's Shyamalan.
Yeah, but so there's, like, a lot of, like, comic book talk, in a way that's like honestly like really awkward.
Yeah.
Not very subtle.
No, and like that was in Unbreakable mostly with Samuel Jackson about how that's his whole thing, right?
Oh,
But-
wait, really?
Yeah, so he was originally like a vintage like comic book collector or something, and that was his thing, and he
Oh.
was like trying. So in Unbreakable, he was always like talking about to Bruce Willis about like, you know, the hero and the villain meet in this way and blah blah. So, but it wasn't quite as obtuse and wasn't quite as like shoved in your face like literally every time he talks. So,
Right.
yeah, it was handled better there. And here again, it's not just him either. It's like his mom does it. Like Casey does it, the psychologist kind of does it, and it's just like, okay, come on, this is too much.
Everyone is in on this.
Yeah.
That's a twist for this movie, or I guess, okay, was it I don't know if it was a twist. Was it a twist that, like, the guy from Split, like, his father was on the same train or whatever?
That we did not know that. So,
Oh.
yeah, that was new for this movie.
Okay.
It was kind of interesting how they showed, like, the father, like, on the train, and then it pans over to, like, show, like, younger Bruce Willis on the train. That scene is the opening for Unbreakable.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, okay, not the straight up opening, but like the one, you know, very early on, where
Okay.
yeah. So like, and because you notice like he was on the train, and then like some woman kind of walks over to him for a little bit, and then they kind of cut away from it. Yeah, so that's like an introduction with him or whatever. She is actually, so that was actually literally shot from Unbreakable. They just kind of did a really nice kind of edit into that shot.
Oh, I see.
So, yeah. So the whole thing with Unbreakable is that the twist in Unbreakable was that Samuel Jackson had kind of orchestrated like a couple like dangerous attacks, including the train thing that Bruce Willis survived in. That was the twist in that, was that Samuel Jackson was like orchestrating all this stuff. But we didn't know.
So then the add-on is that he also killed Split's dad.
Yeah, the
by
fact that
proxy.
his dad was on the train was not known until this movie.
Okay.
So, yeah. So the twist for this was, I mean, I guess you could say the twist was that like Samuel Jackson was kind of faking that he was like lost his mind, but like I don't think didn't want to say it's really a big twist. But besides that, the whole thing was that like, you know, they weren't crazy. That is like they do have powers, and there is this like organization that's trying to basically just like keep them like hidden or whatever.
Mm.
And okay, I don't on concept like that's fine. Honestly, like the idea of you know, they got the videos, they shared it with everybody, and if people kind of know that this is a thing that can happen, now there could be a bunch of like random people that could like have kind of powers or whatever.
Right.
I kind of like that as like a jumping off point,
Yeah.
right? Like I would totally be down if they made like other stories in this universe, though I'd prefer if it wasn't Shyamalan, just because he's not consistent. So
He Shyamalan us before.
yeah, so but if other people like came in and they kind of went with this and had like kind of like interesting, realistic, quote unquote superhero kind of stuff, like I think that'd be interesting to see what they could do with
Yeah.
that. But the whole like ending fight in this movie was kind of lame.
It was pretty anticlimactic.
You mean the
Yeah.
fact that Bruce Willis drowns in a puddle?
Yeah.
I was just like, how could you? He survived like a pipe being filled with water in Die Hard, and you kill him in a puddle?
Like, okay, the whole thing was that, like, again, in Unbreakable was that water was, like, his weakness or whatever.
But
But,
I feel like you could have done so much more.
yeah, I know, not just have him, like, some
Person.
guy sticking his head into a puddle. It's like, come on. You could have made that a bit more interesting. Which they did, like, in Unbreakable, for example. There's a thing where he has to do stuff in the rain, and it's, yeah. So that was a bit better, where this is kind of like, okay, come on, this looks pathetic. And then the actual like fight itself between him and James McAvoy was like, it was shot like kind of weird. It like kept like doing like first person perspectives of both of them, like cutting back and
Yeah.
forth, and it was like just kind of boring of a fight.
Mm.
So
Yeah, the choreography wasn't very good.
yeah, and like honestly the
The way Glass died wasn't very.
yeah,
Like-
exactly.
for,
James
like,
McAvoy,
such a bad dude.
Yeah, he just kind of like grabs him and then like pulls him, and, like kind of pushes him over, and then he just dies. And it's like, okay,
Like glass.
yeah,
It just shatters.
yeah. And then the
They
yeah,
didn't even get to the tower.
no, yeah, and then even then, like yeah, James McAvoy, he just gets like shot, and it's like, oh, okay, that was it. So it's like,
Wait. Wait. Was this okay? I thought of an actual, a kind of interesting idea maybe for like Split is if each of the personalities he had like was a different life. Like, why didn't they do something like that?
yeah, again, they don't like fully 100% explain like but then in the Split movie, they kind of say like, okay, here are these personalities that are inside of him, but it's not just it's more than like it's basically like there is another mentality, like another being inside of him or whatever, in terms of
Okay.
like, because there was one part where like one of his personalities was like on the floor, and he was like, I dropped like an insulin thingy or whatever.
Yeah.
Remember that? And so that was the thing that they touched on in Split, where it's not just like he has another like personality or whatever.
Right.
It's
like he changes his body, kind of.
right. So like one of his like personalities like actually has diabetes, but like the others don't. Right. So
Right.
like that was
Yeah.
kind of, and like the Beast is like noticeably buffer or whatever. Right. So yeah, there's stuff like that. That's again how that happened to him. It's kind of shown that there is some element like abuse and ideas that the personalities are there to protect Kevin, like the original guy. But like exactly how like he got them is not really gone into, which I think is honestly
Okay.
fine, because I don't think they
Right,
really
yeah.
could explain it in a way that would make any sense. So
And even if they did, it might get too techy and wordy and
yeah,
stuff too.
so
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's fine if you don't explain the magic.
yeah,
You just kind of run with it.
yeah. So
Unlike in Star Wars.
the midichlorians. Yeah, but then like I don't know, like okay. I ultimately like the three main characters. I like James McAvoy the most in terms of what he has to go through and stuff like that. I think like especially the ending kind of idea is a good idea. And just kind of the general premise of what this movie is, I think, is a pretty good one. I just think a lot of like the stuff in like the smaller thing, again, the dialogue is pretty damn bad. It's a lot of very heavy like exposition and kind of obvious stuff that's like not very good.
In comic book talk.
Yeah, and honestly, then like the first half of this movie is kind of boring.
Yeah.
So
A little bit.
yeah, so I would say I still liked it more than I didn't, but it definitely has some clear problems to it.
Yeah.
So
But it has some pretty good setup, at least, for
Yeah.
someone else to take the reins and be like, okay, let's like maybe make something out of it. Or maybe
Yeah.
not, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have a feeling this might just be the end. I don't know, because I know that the budget for this was pretty small, so even if it only makes like 200 or 300 mil, like it'll still have a pretty good amount of profit.
Right.
But yeah, so maybe I don't know, but I'd be kind of curious to see where this goes, but I wouldn't be that surprised if this was just it.
Or at least it's the last one by Shyamalan.
Yeah. Well, I kind of hope it is, even if they do.
Either way.
Yeah, because I think I heard somewhere that like even though he did like write Split, that he actually that was like a script that was he made like a long time ago, and he just made it like a few years ago.
Oh, I
So
see.
whereas again Glass he made like right now, and so for example again this whole dialogue thingy that it was not a problem in Unbreakable or Split, where here it's again the exposition and the comic book stuff is like a lot more forced.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, but again, considering other stuff Shyamalan has done, this is, could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah.
You mean like Signs?
Oh my god.
Where's the happening?
Is it kind of bad? Is it kind of bad that, like, I kind of wish we saw the happening during this?
Oh, I don't know if I would have wanted to actually watch it.
I don't know, I kind of do want to watch it.
Let's watch a memeified version of it or something.
God.
Oh my god.
I mean, so the original version of it.
Oh, that's true.
I don't know, do either if you two have anything else to add for your experience?
popcorn was good.
Otherwise, no, not really. I mean, like,
I guess my 2 cents is that this is definitely a movie where you would at least want to, like, either read up on what happened in the other 2 movies or watch the other 2 movies before watching this. That way you can, like, really appreciate everything that happens.
if you go in blind, like we did, you won't know what's going on, but, you know, after the fact, like, learning a couple of things, it does help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I originally ranked this kind of low, and then I was like, oh, okay. Now that I understand a few things, I might change my ranking and stuff.
Yeah.
Are you kind of agree with me that, like, it's kind of neutral, leaning slightly positive, maybe, kind of?
I would say, yeah, pretty much neutral. I didn't dislike it.
Yeah,
No.
I didn't feel like I, like, you know, wasted my time being in the theater. I mean, then again, I would have, but if we weren't doing this, I would have never gone to the theater to see this. But,
Yeah.
you know,
None of us really.
it could have been, hey, I said this, like, we talked about this earlier, I was like, at least the movies that we're seeing in theaters are not, like, incredibly embarrassing.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I'm-
would like Shades. I don't think I wanted to see.
Yeah,
No.
it's bad enough that we watched, you know, 50 Shades of Grey just at all. But
Oh my God,
if we would have had to go watch it in theaters, no.
I think I was saying yesterday how I would pay to see a different movie and then walk into the theater and be like, okay, at least I didn't give money to E.L. James, you know?
I would have done that, and then even then done it so it's like, I don't know, some time, like a really awkward time where I know, like, nobody's going to be in the theater, and I'll just, like, hide in the back corner.
Like, no one you could possibly know can see you there.
Yes. Like, just imagine if somehow, like, some of my students, like, found me in there.
Oh my God.
Hey, what are you watching? And it's like, nothing.
Spider-Verse. I'm watching Spider-Verse.
Actually, Spider-Verse was playing in the theater right next to the one for Glass, and I'm like, kind of want to go walk into that one, but I won't.
Yeah, kind of want to see Spider-Verse too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, read a question. I wonder if we saw the same trailers.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay, because I
We
had...
kind of got in late, so we didn't really see the trailers,
Okay.
but
Okay, well, there was a trailer for Alita, there was one for Shazam, there was one for John Wick 3, there was one for, what was it called? Us?
oh.
There was something else I'm forgetting. Oh, there was some like horror movie that was about some like kid that was like possessed or whatever. Where the trailer
of
based
course.
Insidious.
No, it wasn't that. It was some other name. But like literally the trailer like ended with a big like jump scare and everyone in the audience was like, "Wow, fuck you." Like why did you do this to us? But yeah. So I don't know. Did you have the same kind of things or no?
We got in kind of late, so we didn't really see the trailers. So.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I have to tell a story. So
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
my theater story. So I you know, my movie was at 2:40. So I just kind of got up like a bit after 11 and showered and did some stuff online, and it was like I think it was like 1, or no, it was like 1:30, whatever. No, it was like 1:15, and I was like, I'm just like, might as well just go, like, I have nothing else to do at this point. And so to get to the theater, I walk, and then I take a bus, and so I ended up getting to the theater at about like 2.
Okay.
And so,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I know it was early, but I'm like, I didn't know what else to do. So, you know, I got the ticket on my phone or whatever. So, I walk in and he scans it, and I scan, and the guy scans my phone, and he's like, "Oh, and you have to go back to your car and put your backpack away." And I was
Oh.
like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, like you can't have backpacks in here." And I'm like, okay. Like, again, the last time I'd been in that theater was, like, June, I think, when I saw Incredibles 2, and that was fine. They didn't make an issue about it then. I mean, I did see Bumblebee with my dad, but that was at a different theater. I know I had my backpack there, but again, it was a different theater, so maybe, I don't know. So I don't know how recent this policy is, and there was, like, a sign that, like, said that there was like specifications where you could bring bags that were like smaller than blah blah and blah. So like purses would be fine, but backpacks are not, right? But like,
Okay.
and so I'm just like, I walked from my house. I don't have a car to put this backpack. And so the guy's like, and then so he like called a manager over. The manager was like, yeah, it's like, we can't have you have your bag in here. And I'm like, you don't have like some random room I can throw it in or something? And he's like, no. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And so like I was like saying like, oh, we can give you a refund for the ticket or whatever. And I'm just thinking like, this is so fucking stupid. What, like, the whole point of this is to go see this movie just so we can talk about it. I don't even really want to see the movie, and yet now I like won't be able to see the fucking movie because I have my backpack. Like, this is the stupidest shit. So, because the reason I have my backpack, by the way, is just so I can bring water because like I get thirsty, right? So
Yeah.
I guess when we do this for future movies, like, I'll just bring a water bottle with me, which is kind of annoying, but okay. But so I'm like, so I was like, what the fuck do I do? So I was really thinking about this, and so that I was like, hold on, time, okay, it's 2, movie starts at 2:40, and I'm like, I can't just like not see the movie, and I'm like, I can't just like, I don't know, leave my backpack somewhere outside, that's not gonna work. And so I was like, fuck, and then I'm like, I could take Lyft home, drop my backpack off, and take Lyft back.
But then that would be like more money.
It would, but I'm like, there's literally no other option. I'll fucking do it. So I literally take Lyft home, throw my backpack inside, and and then I take Lyft back to the theater, and I get there right at 2:40, and I'm like, I walk in, and it was I still have the ticket, and the guy was like still there at the ticket thing, and he was like, oh, you made it, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, and then so I just like walked by, and then so yeah, so. This movie caused me to like spend like $10 extra on the Lyft home and then back, and then
God.
Wait, did you tell the Lyft driver to just wait outside your house?
Well, yeah, for Lyft, like, because you can have like multiple stops, so I had it literally go to my house and then come back.
Oh.
So
The
yeah.
guy must have been so confused.
Well, I told him, I'm like, this is what we're doing, and he's like, oh, okay, that's annoying, and I'm like, yeah, it is. So, I don't blame the guy working in the theater. Probably, I imagine like some guy, brought something in that was shitty, and then because of that they had to, make the rule, which sucks. But or either that or they just got paranoid because of all the shootings, and it's just like, god damn it. Maybe if you just had fucking gun control, goddamn America. Okay, anyway. But yeah, so I just feel like this is stupid that like, of course, fucking Glass, the movie I literally don't really care to see in theaters, is the movie that's like causing me to have to do all this shit for it. But like, just about again, thank God I actually like decided to just go there early. Like,
Yeah.
that wouldn't really.
Got there at 2:40.
I know,
That
so it was
even
like
worse.
exactly. So it was like, oh shit. So thankfully that worked. But I guess now I know that when we do this for the next 4 movies that I don't bring my backpack, which is really annoying.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna end up losing like my water bottle. I have these like nice like water bottle container thingies that are all fancy and special or whatever, and it's like I know I'm gonna lose it now. I'm gonna forget it that way somewhere. And it's just
Oh
like,
no.
ugh.
You should get a man purse. Just for your water bottle.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay,
Can you
a nice
imagine
man
if the
purse.
reason they don't allow backpacks is that, how there's that sign, they always have that one, like, PSA thing, like, don't talk on your cell phone or turn on your cell phone because, like, the screen light and whatever. Can you imagine if someone, like, brought their laptop?
Oh.
It's the laptop screen that was
I
low.
don't. That's probably not it. Again, my guess is either. I mean, someone probably didn't bring a gun to the theater, but like they probably were either scared of that happening, or we were talking. The Lyft driver was like, he thought maybe like someone like smuggled in like alcohol or drugs or something.
Oh, that could be it too.
So,
yeah.
but then again, I'm thinking like you could still bring like drugs in like a smaller bag, but whatever.
Or put it in
Put
your
your
pocket.
alcohol, maybe.
Yeah, I mean you can't bring in the big ass wine bottle, but like, just I don't know. So, whatever.
Don't bring alcohol to your theater.
No.
You'll ruin it
Or
for other
guns.
people.
Exactly.
Or knives, or any other thing that can inflict harm.
Yeah, stop. Let me not get dehydrated so I can like, bring my fucking water. Okay, I don't understand people who could like literally just seem to like do all their shit, like walk around all day and do all this stuff, and seem to like barely drink any water. I'm like, how do you live without having like a gigantic headache?
Looks down.
I don't get it. Ugh.
That would be me.
Oh my god, you're weird. I don't understand you. Like, okay, I have it actually right next to me. Does it say anywhere on it that's like not rubbed off like how much this is, like, size-wise? No, I don't think so. But it's like 10 inches tall and like 2.5, 3 inches diameter. Probably more like 2 inches diameter. And like, I have 2 of these, and I probably at least drink like 3 of these, like at least when I'm like at school, like teaching.
Oh wow.
And
Well,
yeah, and then at home I have, I just drink glass waters or stuff. I don't know, like I guess I just need my water. I'm a thirsty bitch.
Thirsty hoe.
Yeah. But anyways, that was my great theater story.
We didn't have anything very eventful happen. I guess maybe I just left late, which is why we got there late.
yeah.
Well,
It's because I have to take the dogs out.
well, next up is, well, the highest grossing film for February, which will
We
also
actually
be...
have no idea what it would be
I mean,
right now.
we probably...
I can kind of guess, but
yeah.
We can guess.
To be honest, like
We
it's...
don't have a guarantee.
Yeah, all of these, like, 2019 ones, like, we're pretty confident in, like, which ones it's going to be. So,
Yeah.
like, basically I see it as, like, like, 60, 30, 10, in terms of, I think this thing is a 60% chance, this thing is a 30% chance, this thing is a 10% chance.
yeah.
But, yeah, well, we'll see what it is. We don't know. We'll find out, and next... Oh, and also, next one is, it's the last true one. Last one.
No. What are we gonna do?
I don't know. I mean, well, it depends on what the movie is, I guess.
Maybe we'll eat Swedish fish.
Oh yeah, to commemorate.
Oh, if there's a... There wasn't... Actually, the theater selection of candy was kind of shit this time.
Oh really? Wait,
Yeah.
they have different selections every time?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't have the thing I usually get, which is the watermelon Sour Patch stuff. But
Oh, they didn't have that?
No, they didn't have that. I had to give just normal boring-ass Skittles.
Oh.
Because there's all this other shit I just didn't even recognize. Well, there was, like, Reese's when I ordered the peanuts, so... Ugh.
That would have been bad.
Yeah. So, man.
Let's buy peanuts on purpose and die.
Oh my god.
Let's instead of Lyft, I'll get an ambulance.
Yeah, I don't need any fucking, medical debt. Not at all.
So we'll see if next month is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, all of the options for 2019 seem to be at least pretty good, even no matter what. Because, okay, April is absolutely guaranteed what it's going to be.
Yeah.
March is like 99% guaranteed. May, it's kind of between two things that are both probably going to be at least okay.
Yeah.
And February, like, all 3 choices, again, are probably going to be, at least seem okay. I mean, okay. There's one of the movies in February I honestly think is, like, looks kind of bad, and that's the one that I say is at 10% chance of winning the month. That, like, I see a lot of people like, oh, it looks great, and it's going to be really popular online, and I'm like, oh, really? It looks kind of bad. But, like, whatever. We'll talk about that tomorrow, depending on what we see, because this has gone on long enough. But,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Anything? Okay, bye.
Bye.